Okay, today's daf is Kuf Chav Aleph, the last daf in Pesachim, 121. The Mishnah says, Birech Birchas HaPesach, Pater Eshel Zevach. Birech Eshel Zevach, Lo Pater Eshel Pesach. Tivir Rabbi Shmuel. Rabbi Akiva Omer L'zu Poter Zu, Lo Zu Poter Zu. To Machlokes, Rabbi Shmuel and Rabbi Akiva, whether the bracha of the Pesach, and you make in Beis HaMikdash, you make bracha on the current Pesach, would exempt the bracha on the chagiga that comes with the Pesach or not. Rabbi Akiva says that it doesn't exempt, and Rabbi Shmuel holds does exempt. The Gemara on Amud Beis brings a story of Rabbi Simlai. He went to a pidyon haben. Ba'omine pshita al pidyon haben. When regarding a pidyon haben, asher kishan himself tivanu al pidyon haben. Avia ben mevarech. He for sure, the father makes the bracha of a pidyon haben. Shechianu kimanu gino azmanazeh kohen mevarech or avia ben mevarech. Who makes the bracha of shechianu? Kohen mevarech the gamat yinaliyadi. The kohen makes the bracha because he gets hana, he gets the money from the pidyon haben. Avia ben mevarech the kavod mitzvah. He's doing a mitzvah. And the Gemara concludes that the father makes both brachas, ala pidyon haben and shechianu. So a couple of questions over here. First of all, what's the comparison? Why does the Gemara bring this incident over here of pidyon haben? So the Rashbam already tries to answer this question. He says that here we're talking about an instance of two different brachos, and in the Mishnah we're talking about an instance of two different brachos. The question is that the Mishnah was talking about, the question was whether one bracha exempts another bracha. Here, that's not the question. The question is who makes both brachas? Not that one bracha of shechianu would exempt the bracha of pidyon haben, something like that. Second question we have over here is, why is it that the Gemara, this is the last Gemara in Mesechta Pesachim, what is the significance that the Gemara concludes Mesechta Pesachim with this? And the third question we'll ask is, when the Gemara says originally there was an incident of pidyon haben, so the Gemara says, Ba'omine pshita al pidyon haben, on pidyon haben, asher kshanim tanu al pidyon haben. Why does the Gemara say the words al pidyon haben? We know that's what we're talking about. In order to answer these questions, we can start off with Piskei Tosos. Tosos gives a summary of some of his different psakim, different rulings on Mesechta Pesachim. The last one, he says, Ein levarich shechianu b'yom hamila el b'shas birchas pidyon haben. It says you don't make the bracha of shechianu on the mila, when the bris mila, you do the bris mila, the father doesn't make the bracha of shechianu, he makes it rather a pidyon haben. So you see over here, the question over here in the Gemara, according to Tosfos, is not whether the shechianu is made on the pidyon haben. The question is whether the shechianu of the pidyon haben exempts the shechianu of the bris milah. So therefore, that's the question over here. The question really is, does the father make the bracha of shechianu on the pidyon haben, and therefore would not make shechianu on the bracha at the bris milah, and the one at pidyon haben would exempt the bris milah, or do we say that really the shechianu at pidyon haben is said by the Kohen, and therefore the father would make the shechianu at the bris milah, not at the pidyon haben, and that therefore it would be relevant to the Mishnah. The question is whether the shechianu of the pidyon haben would exempt the shechianu of the bris milah. The other question over here that would also answer the third question I asked, that he said pshita al pidyon haben, because since we're talking about, like Tosa says, the question over here is regarding also bris milah. So therefore, regarding pidyon haben, the bracha of asher kishanim tzanu al pidyon haben, that is, the father would make that bracha, because regarding pidyon haben, that is a short thing. The next question, shechianu, has relevance regarding milah, so therefore the Gemara doesn't say al pidyon haben, it leaves it blank, which could either be al milah or pidyon haben. And to answer the last question, why does the Gemara Gemara of Pesachim end with this story? To say a little bit of a chiddush over here is that why is the Mesechta called Pesachim? Why isn't it called Mesechtas Pesach? Usually Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot. It's why is Pesachim plural? I want to say that Pesachim means two things. It has a dual meaning. One meaning of Pesachim is Pesachim, that Hashem passed over, Pesach, that we call for Hashem passed over the houses of the Jews when he killed the firstborns of the Egyptians. And the second explanation of it could also be read as piseach, someone who's lame, someone who can't walk. So what happens when someone's lame, he can't walk? He rides on the shoulder of somebody else. So that could also be regarding Pesach over here. One of the meanings is that the Gemara is answering a very fundamental question over here. Is it better? Who has the right to make shechyan at a pidyon haben? What happens at a pidyon haben? The father gives money to the Kohen, which is a matana of the kahuna. The Kohanim basically get their sustenance, they get their parnasa from Klal Yisrael. They give him matnos kahuna. So he's getting money over here. So what is better? The Gemara is asking a fundamental question. What is better? Is it better to be a Kohen, where you do more mitzvos and you're closer to Hashem seemingly, but you get your parnasa from Klal Yisrael? So he would make shechiyanu because the kamati hanaliyah, he's getting 5 shekel, 5 slime. Or do we say that no, the Avi Abein makes the bracha because he's doing the mitzvah? What's the mitzvah? We're talking about Yisrael. Yisrael is the only one who does a pidyon haben. So Yisrael, he is gonna, even though he doesn't have all the mitzvahs of a Kohen, but he is someone who has to make his own parnas. He has to make his own sustenance in this world. And eventually, when he gets older, he's going to have to make his own parnasa, and he won't be a piseach anymore. A Kohen essentially is a piseach. He's riding on someone's shoulders his whole life. But Yisrael has the opportunity, when he gets older, to make his own parnasa, to make his own sustenance. And like we said in the Gemara earlier, that money makes someone have raglayim. Akola yakum asher raglayim. We said a couple daf earlier that a person is able to stand. It gives a person legs. He doesn't have to ride on someone's shoulders when he makes his own parnas and makes his own money. So that's the Gemara answering over here. The maskan of the Gemara is that the father makes both brachas, and that it's better to really be a Yisrael than to be a Kohen. It's a big chiddush. That's the lesson of Mesechta Pesachim, that not just that Hashem passed over the firstborns of Yisrael, but also the lesson that it's important not to be a piseach, not to ride on the shoulders of somebody else. It's important it's a big mila, it's maybe even better than the kahuna, in order to make your own sustenance and to make your own living.